The apocalypse has arrived. While others are fighting for supplies, my family runs a construction company. In my past life, I built a safe house for my boyfriend, only to be locked outside and watch my whole family get slaughtered. But in this life, the safe house is mine. I'm going to eat steak and drink red wine. While watching that scumbag get chased by zombies, opening my eyes, I found myself reborn 10 days before the apocalypse. The face right in front of me. I wouldn't forget it even in death. In my previous life, Mao Bufan hired my family to build his bunker, but never paid the final balance. In the end, my entire family was eaten by zombies. At this very moment, he is showing off his very first illegal blueprint. Honey, for our future. I'm starting a business to build a themed B&B. I'm counting on your family's construction company. But the very next second, I heard his voice again. The apocalypse is coming anyway. I never planned to pay for this renovation. Wait, that voice? I snapped my head up. Mao Bufan's lips hadn't moved at all. Could it be that after my rebirth, I can actually hear his inner thoughts? I looked down at his design requirements. Military-grade protection, independent security system, massive storage room. It was identical to the order from my past life. So, from the very beginning, he never planned to bring me along. My heart was filled with hatred, but I forced a smile on my face. Honey, this proposal is too basic. If we're building a B&B, it needs unique features. I threw down an even more luxurious catalog and said, I highly recommend this Supreme VIP package. Titanium alloy doors, advanced air filtration system, not even a cockroach could crawl in. His eyes lit up. Babe, I want this one. But my cash flow is a bit tight right now. I have a house under my name. I'll mortgage it to your dad's company and sell it next month. Then I'll pay the full amount immediately. But the voice in his mind was going crazy with joy. This silly girl is such a love-struck fool. Once the zombies arrive, this trashy company will be dead anyway. No need to pay the balance. I smiled and handed him the mortgage contract. He signed it incredibly fast, afraid that I might back out. I heard his inner voice again. Tricked another one. Next step, use this house to get a loan. And clear out all the nearby supermarkets. The moment Mao Bufan left, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. The moment I heard his thoughts, I had an awakening. It turns out this world is a post-apocalyptic novel I once read. Mao Bufan is the male lead, and I am just cannon fodder in the book. He was reborn right before the apocalypse. He used me, his love-struck girlfriend, manipulated my feelings, secretly hoarded supplies, built a fortress, and ruled over a territory after Doomsday. How ironic. My family has been military-grade safe house experts for 3 generations. Yet, in my past life, we died right outside the doors of the safe house we designed. The most disgusting part was, when the apocalypse hit, my parents and I knelt and begged him for supplies. Begged him to save us for the sake of our past relationship. But he just sat in the safe house, hugging a few beautiful women. Turned on the loudspeaker to humiliate me, and told me to bark like a dog if I wanted food. For my family's sake, I did it. The man I once loved looked at me like I was absolute trash. He even deliberately attracted the zombies. My entire family was torn apart alive. The author of the novel even added a note. This scene is necessary to highlight the male lead's ruthless and decisive nature. Thinking about this, my nails dug so hard into my palms out of hatred. Mao Bufan, in this life, it's your turn to be the cannon fodder the plot requires. The next day, I brought the construction workers to the air raid shelter. I have to admit, the shelter Mao Bufan picked was a hidden gem. Not only was the underground space incredibly spacious, but the built-in concrete walls already met military-grade defense standards. Mao Bufan was still putting on a show. Honey, look at this. We'll make it the coolest Doomsday-themed B&B. We'll divide the underground into living zones. He leaned in close to my ear, acting intimate. Doomsday preppers have a lot of money these days. This is a massive project. I almost died laughing at his pathetic acting. If I couldn't hear his inner thoughts, I might have fallen for it again. This silly girl probably hasn't noticed anything. The plan is flawless. I feigned shyness and gently pushed him away. I turned to the foreman behind me and said, "Sir, install the new solar panels on the slope." The foreman looked troubled. "Boss, the generator factory is asking for a deposit." I immediately turned back to Mao Bufan, hugged his arm, and shook it slightly. My voice was sickeningly sweet. "Honey, didn't you say this is a multi-million-dollar project? A little deposit is no problem for you, right?" "Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Once it's done, I'll even give you a huge bonus, babe." Mao Bufan wiped his sweat. But in his mind, he was thinking, if I pay the deposit, I'll have less money. Whatever, I'll just go get another loan. During the days of renovation, several large trucks rumbled into the site. Leading the convoy was a massive freezer truck, followed by refrigerated trucks fully loaded with frozen meat. 100 whole frozen pigs, 50 sheep, 20 cows. Mao Bufan was still pretending to imagine our future of making money with the B&B. He claimed the place was big enough to run a side business in frozen goods. But his inner voice was saying, once the apocalypse comes, just a single piece of steak will make the campus queen beg for me. Right in front of me, his official girlfriend. He was already fantasizing about other women. Soon after, pharmaceutical companies delivered 3 trucks of medicine, antibiotics, painkillers. There were even several boxes of condoms. I lowered my head, pretending to check the blueprints, sneering inwardly. Suddenly, a loud rumble came from the entrance of the shelter. I looked up. Good Lord, he basically moved an entire canning factory here. Canned fruits, canned fish, and 20 boxes of luncheon meat. I casually picked up a can of braised green beans. He even bought canned vegetables. I silently noted it all down. Freezers, frozen meat, medicine, canned goods. Sooner or later, these will all be mine. Over the next few days, the safe house was in urgent construction. Mao Bufan suddenly appeared. He forced an ingratiating smile, grabbed my hand and said, "Honey, can the project go a little faster?" His voice was so gentle, but his inner thoughts were filled with rage. Only 5 days left. The zombies are coming. What the hell is this woman dawdling for? I was dying of laughter inside. He's panicking. He's absolutely panicking. In my past life, the safe house was completed 3 days before the apocalypse. But in this life, I decided to delay the schedule by 3 more days. I just love seeing him jump around in anxiety, yet still forcing himself to smile at me. Countdown to Doomsday, 3 days. Mao Bufan rushed over with massive dark circles under his eyes. Honey, why isn't the main titanium door installed yet? 3 days, this bitch is definitely messing with me. Today was supposed to be the completion date. But the most important door isn't even here. I slowly crossed my arms, looking completely calm and collected. Don't panic, the renovation is almost done. Isn't it time to settle part of the payment? The workers are waiting for their wages. Mao Bufan's face turned pale. Babe, just wait a little longer. Once the house transfer is complete, I'll pay you immediately. Even now, he still wanted to deceive me. So, I started acting. I pretended to sigh. You have to pay a portion today. Otherwise, the workers won't work. And this door will just stay as an empty frame. I pointed at the entrance of the shelter. With a twisted expression, he transferred some money to me via his phone. This little bitch. Once the zombies come, I'll make you kneel and beg me. Receiving the notification of the deposit, I immediately yelled to the workers, "Hey guys. Wages are paid. Make sure the main door is installed within 3 days." Once the workers got paid, they were highly motivated, under my careful supervision. The bulletproof titanium alloy door was successfully installed the day before the apocalypse. Mao Bufan came to inspect it. I reminded him, "Tomorrow is your birthday. Don't forget the final payment." He forced an ugly smile. But his thoughts were vicious. Final payment? In your next life. Well, in your next life, you can have a safe house. I'm the one who drew the blueprints, after all. Countdown to Doomsday, 12 hours. I sprinted home as fast as I could, locked the security door tightly, and drew all the curtains completely shut. My mom, holding a spatula, looked at me with question marks on her face. Girl, looking at you, were you chased by a dog? I panted heavily. Worse than a dog, it was thrilling. Mom, Dad. The apocalypse is coming. I slammed 3 pieces of paper onto the dining table. The bunker blueprint, the supply list, and the mortgage contract. I told my parents everything. Recalling the tragedy of being torn apart by zombies in my past life, my tears broke through my defenses. I was starting over. And this time, I swore I would protect my family no matter what. I explained my plan. Mom, Dad. Mao Bufan is going out to party at a bar tonight. The bunker will be empty around midnight. Tonight is our only chance to seize the safe house. Oh right, there's one more thing I need to do right now. In the group chat for the Everlight construction team, I started typing. Attention everyone, Everlight construction is on emergency leave. Wages have been fully settled. Everyone must immediately buy massive amounts of supplies and wait for further notice. The moment the message was sent, the group exploded with questions. But soon, only received messages followed. Finally, there was a voice message from old Zhang, the foreman. Girl, we trust you. I breathed a sigh of relief. I could only save as many as I could. I immediately sat back down at the computer and sent emails to the community boards. The emails contained doomsday warnings, records of future high-risk areas, and a doomsday survival guide. I even blasted it to the inboxes of major media outlets. Mom placed a fruit platter on the desk. You silly girl. Always a sharp tongue but a soft heart. I didn't say anything. In my heart, this wasn't just a book. Every person here is real. Countdown to Doomsday, 6 hours. At exactly 6 o'clock p.m., my phone suddenly flooded with news notifications. Breaking news. Vicious attacks involving humans biting humans reported in Nation J. Abnormal assault incidents breaking out across Nation A. I abruptly bounced up from my chair and rushed to the window. Outside, the city was as bright and bustling as ever. But I knew clearly. The apocalypse was right around the corner. I suppressed the anxiety in my heart, sat down, and frantically refreshed Mao Bufan's social media feed. In my past life, he went out right around this time. Sure enough, at 6:30 p.m. His status updated right on time. A location check-in from a VIP booth at a bar. Captioned, The Final Carnival. Tonight, right at that place. He was going to meet the original novel's female lead, Li Ruyan. Countdown to Doomsday, 3 hours. The dark veil of night heavily pressed down. In the distance, police sirens began to wail across the city. But they quickly died out. Mom, Dad. Let's move out. I started the car. The inside of the vehicle was dead silent, filled only with the sound of our increasingly heavy heartbeats. The car struggled up to the top of the mountain. Under the moonlight, the entrance to the shelter gaped pitch black. At this moment, Mao Bufan should still be at the bar, enjoying his final moments of indulgence. I stood in front of the titanium alloy door, my fingers trembling slightly. I designed this very door myself. And a designer always leaves a back door for themselves. I had installed a dual password system. Now, on the control panel, I entered the highest authority master code. 1. Access level 0 verified. The password Mao Bufan set was now completely invalid. The Doomsday safe house now belonged to me. The second we rushed into the shelter, the cold white emergency lights flickered on automatically. Inside the cavernous space, mountains of supplies, gleamed enticingly under the lights. Boxes of canned food, bottled water, medicine. There was even an entire wall of cold weapons. Mom, Dad, you go rest first. I went straight to the control console, my finger hovering over the red button. Right now. Click. With a reassuring mechanical grinding sound. The 5-ton alloy blast door slowly descended, locking the apocalypse outside completely. Bold red letters popped up on the control screen. System locked. Safe mode activated. Remaining time, infinite. I slumped back into the chair. This time, I finally managed to protect them. Now, it was time to enjoy the show. Without the safe house, Mao Bufan. Let's see how you play savior now. The shelter I designed has dual-layer defense. The outer layer is a 20-centimeter thick alloy door, and the inner layer is made of panoramic bulletproof glass, offering a 360-degree view of the entire mountain. In my past life, Mao Bufan loved standing here, looking down like people were ants, enjoying the sight of survivors struggling outside. But now, it's my turn to enjoy the view. Not long after, on the surveillance monitors, a modified sports car came roaring toward the shelter. The door popped open, and Mao Bufan stepped out first, followed by 2 heavily made-up women. One was Li Ruyan, the woman who made me bark like a dog in my last life, and the other was an unfamiliar face. They were glaring daggers at each other. This guy was actually thinking to himself, I only brought 2. Barely enough to make do. Once the apocalypse fully breaks out with unlimited supplies, there will be plenty of women begging on their knees. Suddenly, he noticed the tire tracks on the ground. He paused. Strange, there are tire tracks. Did someone come here? Impossible. Indeed, a protagonist's massive ego doesn't crumble that easily. He turned around, putting on his affectionate, domineering CEO face, and smiled charmingly at the 2 women. Babes, welcome to your Doomsday paradise. Li Ruyan twisted her waist as she got out of the car, deliberately bumping into the other woman. Learn some manners. Brother Bufan loves me the most. The other woman rolled her eyes. Stop pretending. Your face has so much plastic, your own mother wouldn't recognize you. Mao Bufan hypocritically put his arms around both of them. Stop fighting, you are both my sweethearts. But internally, he was loving it. Awesome. The more you fight over me, the better I feel. He smugly walked up to the door and pressed his fingerprint. Beep, verification failed. Mao Bufan's smile instantly froze. Refusing to believe it, he punched in the password a few times, but all he got was access revoked. Just then, Li Ruyan leaned in, acting whiny. Brother, I'm scared of the dark. Mao Bufan whipped his head around and slapped Li Ruyan hard across the face. Li Ruyan stumbled to the side, tears welling up in her eyes, but she didn't dare let them fall. After all, it was the middle of the night in the wilderness. Finally, Mao Bufan's face turned shades of green and white. He violently yanked out his phone. My phone screen lit up. It was a call from the male lead, Mao Bufan. I leisurely pressed speakerphone. Honey, is there a virus in the safe house system? Why don't I have access? Is there another way to get in? But his inner thoughts weren't so polite. Yi, this better not be your doing. Otherwise, I'll kill you. Why can't the door open? Is it broken? The sound of frantic pounding on the door echoed from outside, but I stared at the monitor, smiling brighter than ever. The door isn't broken. You just have the wrong password. You didn't pay the final balance, so the bunker belongs to me now. On the screen, Mao Bufan's face twisted in sheer rage. But a second later, he switched back to a gentle expression. Babe, didn't we agree that I'd pay you once my house is sold? Stay calm. This love-struck fool must have misunderstood something. I'll coax her into opening the door first. The zombies are coming. I can't be locked outside. His thoughts were fully exposed to me. I literally rolled my eyes. The zombies were almost here, yet he was still trying to deceive me, still hiding his true motives. I reminded him to read clause 37 of the contract. If the final payment is overdue, the shelter belongs to the construction company. Now, he finally realized. His dream of being the emperor of the apocalypse was shattered. Unexpectedly, he suddenly threw his entire body against the bulletproof glass. His acting skills peaking. "Yi, are you inside? Open the door, you're the only one I love. Let me in." His voice was trembling, and his inner thoughts were filled with pure panic. Faint screams could already be heard in the distance. Getting closer and closer, however, I simply hung up the phone. I turned around and walked toward the soft, giant bed. You should know, the living quarters in this basement were built to top-tier luxury hotel standards. I slept exceptionally well that night. Ready to welcome the apocalypse tomorrow. Day 1 of the apocalypse. On the street, a drunk suddenly bit into his companion. The bitten man convulsed and collapsed. Minutes later, he twisted and crawled back up. His eyes turned pitch black, joints bending backward, as gurgling growls erupted from his throat. 3 hours later, the entire city collectively entered emergency mode. My phone was constantly vibrating, as every group chat exploded. My coworker turned into a zombie while at work. "Don't run away, the apocalypse is here. Does this mean I don't have to pay my mortgage anymore?" My husband mutated. The property management was still struggling to send out notices. "Everyone, please stay calm." But there were no effective measures at all. It seems, the hundreds of anonymous warning emails I sent out ultimately couldn't change a thing. The construction foreman's group, however, was filled with joy. "Thank goodness Boss Yi forced us to hoard supplies. My wife is sleeping hugging a can of food right now, and she'll fight anyone who touches it." Reading these messages, my mind felt at ease. Just then, the aroma of black pepper steak drifted over. Time to eat. Mom was searing steaks. "Come here, sweetie. Today, we celebrate moving into our new home." Dad was even more extra. He straight up set up a go board in the living room, claiming that one must cultivate the mind even during the apocalypse. In my past life at this exact moment, I was outside, being chased by zombies, while Mao Bufan was indulging in wine and women inside the safe house. Now, I'm inside the safe house, enjoying a peaceful life. And so, a week passed isolated from the world. The internet was intermittent. Every day, I scrolled through the news, watching the outside world collapse bit by bit. Supermarkets were looted clean. On the black market, a pack of biscuits could trade for 10 gold chains. Money had long become worthless paper. Occasionally, I could still hear Mao Bufan's thoughts. This guy actually managed to join the Doomsday off-road gang. They were the very same thugs he swore to wipe out in his past life. Is this the so-called protagonist's halo? If he couldn't play the Doomsday hoarder trope, he instantly pivoted to being a Doomsday gangster. Even if the world is ending, he still manages to thrive. Messages in the WeChat groups became fewer and fewer. The property management group that was active yesterday now only had a few sparse cries for help. Those once lively profile pictures faded into gray, one after another, never to light up again. I stood at the entrance of the shelter, pulled back the blackout curtains, and looked outside. In the distance, there were only overturned cars scattered about. Occasionally, I could hear miserable screams from afar, but they would quickly be drowned out by the low growls of zombies. I retreated back to the basement. Looking at the supplies inside, I suddenly felt a lot safer. Half a month into the apocalypse, I was petting a cat that had snuck in from who knows where. It felt amazing. Suddenly, my phone started buzzing wildly. Mao Bufan was bombarding me with messages. "Yi! Open the door within an hour, or I will flatten your stupid cave to the ground." He attached a high-definition photo. Over a dozen modified, beat-up vehicles surrounded my place. Next to them was a massive bulldozer covered in unidentifiable minced meat. Several thugs were holding knives, guns, and clubs, standing arrogantly. In the center, of course, was our male lead, Mao Bufan. He looked like he owned the entire world. Hey Emph, such a small scene overwhelmed by my sheer dominance. Is she scared yet? Once that door opens later, I must devour a few pounds of beef and take a long hot bath. In the corner of the photo, there was an old acquaintance, Li Ruyan. The female lead from my past life now looked like a torn ragdoll. Tossed on the roof of a car, her eyes were completely hollow. She looked like a walking corpse. Hearing Mao Bufan's overinflated, confident thoughts, I almost burst out laughing. Want to eat meat? Want to take a bath? In your dreams. Today, I'll make you die of craving. I leisurely walked to the first floor of the shelter. Right behind the bulletproof glass, I popped open a bottle of 1980 to Lafite. Then I picked up a knife and fork and slowly, meticulously cut into the steak my mom had just cooked. It was sizzling, dripping with juices, its aroma practically visible. Come on, for all you starving people out there. Let me give you a live broadcast. Sure enough, the dozens of eyes outside the glass instantly turned green with hunger. They stared dead at the beef on my plate. Li Ruyan's lips trembled, her eyes glowing with desperation. Mao Bufan's face was completely contorted. He started cursing wildly, but his vocabulary was touchingly poor. This bitch, she's definitely doing this on purpose. That steak looks so damn good. It was all supposed to be mine. Once I get in there, I'll make her cry. When he got tired of cursing, Mao Bufan turned to his muscular but utterly brainless lackeys and muttered a few words. Cursing won't work. Bring up the bulldozer. Smash this damn door open for me. Soon, with a loud rumble, that beat-up bulldozer, covered in pieces of zombies, wobbled its way over. Oh ho, a physical breach? Quite a wild idea. Too bad they have no brains. I swirled the wine glass in my hand, sitting there enjoying the show. This shelter is a super fortress welded straight into the mountain's bedrock. The outer shell is military-grade titanium alloy. That piece of junk bulldozer is nothing but noise to me. The blade crashed into the main door over and over, sending plenty of sparks flying, but after smashing for half the day, the door didn't even have a single scratch. What's going on? How is this door so tough? Impossible. I am the reborn protagonist. This isn't how it's supposed to be. The bulldozer is almost out of gas. Why isn't the door open yet? Mao Bufan's ego was completely shattered, seeing that brute force had failed, and the bulldozer was almost out of gas. Mao Bufan's face was as dark as the bottom of a pot. Then, his approach abruptly changed. Facing the surveillance camera, he began his deeply affectionate performance. Yi, I was wrong. I shouldn't have withheld the final payment. I did it all for our future. Please forgive me this once. But his little schemes were running wild in his head. Yes, act soft first. Trick her into opening the door. Once I'm in, we'll see. This acting was so exaggerated it burned my eyes. How did I ever believe this garbage in my past life? Eventually, the bulldozer completely died. Seeing that I had no reaction, Mao Bufan and his mob of misfits could only curse in frustration and drive their beat-up cars away in disgrace. But right before he left, he was fiercely thinking to himself, just wait. I know about an abandoned secret passage. I will definitely come back. Next time, you won't be so lucky. What secret passage? Does the safe house have an entrance I don't know about? Wait, that little cat that sneaked in inexplicably this morning. Did it crawl in through that secret passage? Where exactly is it? I practically pressed my face against the walls. The flashlight beam swept over every ventilation shaft repeatedly. Once, twice, 3 times, but there was nothing. Just at that moment, my phone rang. A group chat named Construction Company hijacks the safe house popped up. It was filled with people claiming to be acquaintances and neighbors. And all the spears were pointed straight at me. Mao Bufan, is this your backup plan? An avatar of a guy with a beer belly spoke up first. Yi, we watched you grow up. It's the apocalypse, you can't just forget about us. Then, Auntie Zhang's voice message popped up. Her voice sounded incredibly choked up. Yi, little Bao is only 7 years old. He's burning up with a 40-degree fever. Wait a minute, I clearly remember. Her son graduated from college last year. I even liked her post about it on social media. Can the apocalypse make people age backwards? Suddenly, a news link popped up. Shocking. Female construction boss monopolizes safe house. Ignoring lives hanging by a thread. The cover photo was actually me. My work photo had devil horns photoshopped onto it. The comment section instantly became a moral high ground. One by one, they stood on their pedestals, pointing fingers at me. Yet, absolutely none of them mentioned that what they truly wanted were the supplies. Acting like saints while begging for scraps. Such a traditional virtue. Mao Bufan's thoughts drifted into my mind. She is the kind of person who falls for moral kidnapping the most. Once they cause a scene, she'll panic. That smug tone. As if he could already see me kneeling and begging for mercy. Does he really think I'm the reincarnation of Mother Teresa? I sneered and started typing. I'll distribute some biscuits at the entrance. The tone of the group changed instantly. I knew Yi was the best. We didn't dote on this child for nothing. I closed the group chat. My fingers swiped across the control panel. And the safe house's defense systems were activated. Since they love putting on a show so much, I'll let them act to their heart's content. Outside the bulletproof glass, the people claiming to be my neighbors and my relatives stared fiercely at everything inside the safe house. Some even grabbed bricks, steel pipes, and fire axes, and started smashing the metal door. Mao Bufan's thoughts drifted in again. Riot, the more violent, the better. When Yi panics, I'll sneak in through the secret passage and take over the safe house. So he did plan to seize control during the chaos. I have to deal with the people in front of me immediately. I activated the item exchange system. A small hatch above the metal door slid open. And the tray pushed out 10 packs of compressed biscuits. Seeing this, the burly men at the front immediately jammed their steel pipes into the hatch opening. The hatch is jammed. Rush in and take everything. Heh, so they weren't here to beg. They wanted to raid my home directly. I sneered and pressed a button. Stast! Instantly, high-voltage electricity surged through the door. It traveled through the steel pipes, shocking the burly men who jammed the door until they passed out. The entire mountain fell terrifyingly silent. I turned on the loudspeaker. My voice was ice cold. I didn't like that performance. Now, the rule is, if you want food, trade for it with gold. The crowd stirred. A man in a suit took off his gold watch and threw it into the collection slot. The scanner flashed green. With a ding, the tray spat out a box of supplies. The man grabbed the biscuits and ran. Before the others could even react, they saw a horde of zombies approaching from the distance. In the end, the crowd screamed and scattered to flee for their lives. I watched the chaotic scene outside. I never expected that I would still walk the same path Mao Bufan did in my past life. But I had no choice in the apocalypse. Kindness is a luxury. The rules are made by the strong. Just then, Mao Bufan's inner thoughts echoed. This damn passage is suffocating me. It's full of nothing but dust. Amidst violent coughing were his hoarse pants. There's a breeze up ahead. I'm almost at the main ventilation duct. I'll be in soon. I suddenly jumped up. I didn't even care that my phone had dropped to the floor. He had already sneaked in. And he was incredibly close. But which vent was he in? A sharp cat screech suddenly erupted from the storage room. When I rushed over, the kitten was frantically scratching. At the corner of the wall, there, a ventilation grill hidden behind some clutter, was vibrating slightly. Fine dust was falling rapidly from the metal edges. That's the spot. I pressed my ear to the grill and heard faint rustling and panting from inside. Just 100 more meters forward, here is the ventilation system. Mao Bufan's thoughts were crystal clear. No time to lose. I grabbed a thick alloy plate and quick dry cement. Moving so fast I was practically a blur. Amidst the hissing sound of the cement solidifying, the ventilation vent was completely sealed off, but that wasn't enough. I sprinted to the main console and quickly operated the interface. Emergency blast doors lowered. Full system scan of the secret passage access points. Activating the directional explosive protocol. Boom! The entire safe house shuddered violently. A painting on the wall fell to the floor with a clatter. Immediately after, a series of muffled cave-in sounds came from deep underground. Help! Cave-in! Saw! And then, total silence. I stood there, hearing nothing but my own heartbeat thumping in my ears. That annoying inner voice was finally gone. 2 months later, the outside world had long changed its masters. Zombies, mutated beasts. Take your pick. Any of them could have humanity lying dead in very creative ways, but my safe house became the most ironic luxury store in the wasteland. The diamonds that once adorned luxury watches could now only be traded for half a piece of compressed biscuit. But today, a VIP with hard currency slipped into the trading line. A muscular man, separated by the bulletproof glass, tossed over a waterproof Ziploc bag. Trading this for supplies. It contained core intelligence on several large survivor camps, their reserves, their weaknesses, and intel on their next moves. In the apocalypse, this stuff was rarer than gold. The trade was clean and quick. Returning to the main control room, I inserted the encrypted chip. The screen was instantly filled with defense blueprints, supply lists, and critical data. Just as I was analyzing the data, several lines of neon green text floated out of thin air. The female lead is so badass. The 3D modeling is insane. Highly recommend. My fingers abruptly froze on the keyboard. Mao is in a safe house run by a woman to fake. The scriptwriter has no brain. Is that muscle guy a foreshadowing? Author, hurry up and update. I slowly looked up. So, I'm just an animated character.